What is good, y'all? My name is Vellerton or Vel, and today we got another tier list for y'all, and not just a regular tier list, another Harry Potter tier list. But if you remember a couple weeks ago, I did a tier list on the movies of Harry Potter. Now we're doing a tier list of the books, which to me is more important. I think the books are better in every way, and if you haven't experienced reading the Harry Potter books and you are a Harry Potter fan, you should go do that. But before we get started with the actual tier list, I want y'all to write in the comments your pre-watch tier list that you guys will have for your own list, or just put it in your brain, write it down somewhere. Just if you know your list, just have it somewhere ready, because I want to know what y'all list is down in the comments below. And then at the end of the video, after you've watched my list and watched my reasonings from my spots, I want y'all to tell me if your mind has changed or if your mind stayed the same about it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep me in the loop. Now we're gonna go from Sorcerer's Stone to Deathly Hallows, all in release order of the books. Now remember, this tier list is not a ranking from like best to worst book or something like that. This is pretty much giving a grade for the book itself. You gotta remember, those are two different things. With that being said, let's get into it. First up, we got Sorcerer's Stone. Now, Sorcerer's Stone for me is kind of in a weird spot because I don't necessarily love this book. I don't always want to read it. Like I genuinely don't want to read it too much. And I think that's part in due because of how similar it is to the movie. Like for me, there's not enough of a difference between the movie and the book for me to want to read the book over the movie, unless I'm rereading it for a specific reason, like in the future for videos and stuff. I'm obviously gonna have to do some more reading to get my facts right and stuff like that. But for me, Sorcerer's Stone is just too close to the movie for me to, you know, pick the book over the movie. And that's nothing against the book. The book is still good and it still has its own amazing moments, and moments that you would miss if you didn't read the book. Like at the beginning of the book, when we see the whole day play out before Harry gets dropped off at the Dursleys, we see Vernon going to work and him noticing a bunch of weird people around dressing strangely and talking weirdly and looking like they're cheering and so happy for something, which we later find out is because Harry accidentally defeated Voldemort, or Voldemort defeated himself, however you want to put it. We also get to see more of Harry growing up and some of the things that happened to him in more details as he was living with the Dursleys up until receiving his letter from Hogwarts. And some smaller details being shown in the books, like Dudley's friend going along with Harry and the Dursleys to the zoo and it not just being Harry and Dudley being the only two kids there, or Vernon driving to a bunch of places trying to get away from the letters from Hogwarts until he eventually gets to the rock that's in the middle of nowhere in the water. And although these details are better for me than what we get in the movies, it's still not different enough for me to want to read the book over the movie constantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not enough for me. Now, I still do like the book. I still will go back and read it from time to time, just nowhere near as frequently as I do the others. Like, it'd be like every couple of years, I don't even know. It's like, I read the other books from 3 to 7 multiple times a year, bro. And it's also the first in the series, so you're getting reintroduced to the whole world again and going through all the same things that we always do. And, you know, we don't always need an origin story, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. Like, everything needs an origin, but like, you don't always want to go rewatch the origin story of something, you know. That's why these days, like for Batman, they're not really doing the origin story of Batman anymore. We've already seen it. Everyone knows it already. We've already seen his origin. We don't need to go through him becoming Batman again. We knew how he becomes Batman. Same thing with Spider-Man now. We're not doing a rehashing of his story of how he became Spider-Man anymore. We already know how he becomes Spider-Man. We don't need to redo it every single time we have a new Spider-Man on screen. Same thing now with Superman. We already know. We don't need to keep retelling the story. So like, that's just one of the reasons why it just don't speak to me that much. I just don't find a good enough reason to go back and read it over and over again for my personal enjoyment, because for me, I get the same amount of enjoyment just from watching the movie. So for those reasons, we're gonna put Sorcerer's Stone at B tier. Now next up, we got Chamber of Secrets, and Chamber of Secrets for me is kind of in the same spot, I'm not gonna lie. Once again, it's not different enough from the movie for me to want to read the book over just watching the movie itself. Even though I love the book is always gonna have more details than the movie, but still can't justify it. Now, one of my favorite moments from Chamber of Secrets is the Quidditch scene, actually. The whole Quidditch match, that was amazing in the book. I loved it so much. It's always entertaining to read that. You know, I think from now on, I'm gonna give my favorite moment from each of these books. So for Sorcerer's Stone, my favorite moment has to be Harry with the Mirror of Erised. Just every time he goes back to it, and then especially the time when he's talking and Dumbledore's there with him also. For Chamber of Secrets, for me, is gonna have to be when Harry gives Dobby the sock, therefore setting him free, or Lucius technically gives him the sock. You know what I'm saying? But I don't necessarily have too much to say about Chamber of Secrets. Just for me, Chamber of Secrets is gonna have to go in B tier as well with Sorcerer's Stone. Now you see Chamber of Secrets behind Sorcerer's Stone. That doesn't necessarily mean it's worse than Sorcerer's Stone. Like I said, this is a tier list, not a ranking. It's just in the same tier as Sorcerer's Stone for me. Now we get to the good stuff, in my opinion. We get to the meat and potatoes, as they say. The third book onward for me is where we just start moving into GOAT territory from the books. This is where we start really getting into where I really would like to read the book sometimes over just watching movies, because it's not enough. Now the third one, it's just because I love it so much. Because for me, it's still not too different from the movie, but I just love the book so much in general that I just reread it a lot sometimes, you know? So with that being said, yes, we are officially on Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, the Prisoner of Azkaban movie is a lot of people's favorite movie, including mine. It's most definitely my favorite Harry Potter movie. And although I will say the book is not my favorite out of all the Harry Potter books, it's still up there and it's still really good for me. Now, one key difference that I really like and really makes it all the more better is that in the book, Aunt Marge berates Harry and abuses him pretty much for a few days. It's not just one day or one night as we see in the movie. It's a few days. She's there for a few days before Harry finally snaps one night and he just can't take it anymore because Aunt Marge is always doing something to him. It says in the books that Harry had to climb up a tree one time because her dogs were chasing him and she did not call them off for hours and he was just sitting up in the tree stuck. She's always giving Dudley presents and doesn't give Harry anything. Always treats Harry like dirt, and I'd argue it's worse than the Dursleys. But I don't know, for some reason, for me, I've always loved the beginning of these Harry Potter books, like the life of Harry in the Wizarding World before he gets to Hogwarts. I don't know, I just love the world building and him just going to different places in the Wizarding World with other wizards. I always found that to be amazing, and we'll get to that more later. Prisoner of Azkaban is such a solid book though, and I don't really have any major problems with it at all. Pretty much everything I have to say for it is good, and I love seeing the journey of Harry learning his Patronus and using it in game against the Mentors, but he later found out to be Malfoy, and I believe Crabbe and Goyle dressed up as the Mentor. And my favorite moment of the book has to be when Harry saves himself and Sirius from using the Patronus and realizing he had it in him the whole time. It was not his dad that saved him, it was him all along. And as far as time travel goes, time travel was handled really well. And I can imagine it'd be incredibly hard to actually avoid yourself and avoid it being seen by anybody using a time turner. That seems incredibly difficult, especially in this day and age with phones and stuff. Yeah, today, I don't know if time turners will fly. if we ever got a modern Wizarding World and we ever got time turners to show up again in the story, I don't think that would be viable at all. Like at all. Some heartbreaking stuff though. We found out that Neville's greatest fear is Professor Snape, and for y'all that don't know, for y'all that are movie only watchers, bro, Snape is 50 times nicer in the movies than in the books. Snape in the books, like, you would genuinely think something's wrong with him, the way he talks to these kids, the way he disrespects them. In this book, Snape, during one of their lessons, told Neville that he was going to have to feed his toad Trevor his potion that he made that class. Knowing that Neville was probably going to mess it up and poison his toad, he did it anyway. Now, I'm sure Snape had an antidote ready and was not going to actually have Neville kill his toad, but still, he knew what he was doing. He was trying to get Neville to poison his toad and feel bad and sad that his toad might have died. And then Snape got mad at Hermione and took points away from Gryffindor because Hermione helped him. And do you want to know how Snape knew that Hermione helped him? He knew because the potion was done right. That's so messed up, bro. And then the first thing he did when he went into Lupin's class is warn Lupin about Neville helping him and embarrass Neville in front of the entire class. But Lupin did clap back and said he hoped that Neville was going to help him with the lesson and built up his confidence a little bit, which is good. And this is when we hear or find out from Neville that Snape is his biggest fear, which is crazy. How would you feel if your kid came home and told you that their biggest fear is one of their teachers that's supposed to be protecting and teaching them? How would y'all feel? Isn't that insane? And it doesn't end there. Once Neville did his ridiculous spell on the Boggart, and his Boggart was Snape because Snape's his biggest fear, and he put Snape in his grandmother's clothes. Once Snape found out, he bullied Neville worse than ever. Man, hey, I could go on all day about how bad Snape is in the book. Most of what people say about Snape comes from the movies, because book Snape, him trying to protect the kids ain't got nothing to do with how horribly he treated them. Like, he treated every kid that wasn't in Slytherin terrible, bro. It was bad. And he was even more annoying in the book when it came to him finding Sirius and Lupin. In the movie, they portrayed it as Snape trying to protect the kids genuinely, but in the book, Snape came in and like insulted the kids, couldn't wait to get them in trouble, and wanted to kill Sirius instantly. Like, hey, look. It's bad, bro. But another part I love in the book is when Harry finally gets to use his firebolt. And you got Jordan commentating during the game, glazing the firebolt, and McGonagall going off on him for doing that. Man, I wish we would have got an actual firebolt scene for the Quidditch match in Prisoner of Azkaban. That's also the year where Gryffindor won the Quidditch Cup, bro. And also, sadly, I think about this often, it's sadly the last year Fred and George got to play Quidditch at school. Like fully, like throughout the whole year, because in the 5th book they didn't get to finish. It's tough. With all that being said though, we're gonna put Prisoner of Azkaban in A tier. Now next up we got Goblet of Fire. And now what Goblet of Fire is one of my least favorite Harry Potter movies. It is one of my favorite Harry Potter books, bro. I love this book. And like I told y'all, especially the beginning. Now this Goblet of Fire is really when we started spending a lot of time before we get to Hogwarts, just elsewhere. And now, if you're a movie only, you don't know this stuff, but we got to see a lot of the Quidditch World Cup, and we got to see the whole Quidditch match, bro. And there was also a good amount of content before we even got to that day. Whereas in the movie, after the beginning scene of Baby Voldemort and the Wormtail, it skips directly to Harry being at the Burrow waking up to go to the Quidditch World Cup. In the book, we start off after that beginning scene with Harry at the Dursleys. And then Harry gets a letter from the Weasleys asking him to ask his aunt and uncle if he can come with them to the Quidditch World Cup. Now, this is what I love about the Weasleys. They wasn't really asking, they was kind of telling. Like, they was just asking just to be nice. But in reality, they said they was going to show up anyway. The funniest thing happened when they got there, man. Once they actually, well, they struggled first to get in the actual, through the chimney because they used flue powder, because the Dursleys had that junk blocked off. But once they were actually in, Fred and George were there. They went up to grab Harry's trunk and came back down. They purposefully dropped their Tum-Tum toffee on the ground for Dudley to pick up, and his tongue started growing at a rapid rate. And it was hard for Mr. Weasley to get that junk under control, man. But these are the details. These are the things that I wish was in the movie. This is why the books are so much better, and why I love this book. The comedy is there in this book, the drama is there in this book, the action is for sure there in this book, and it's hard to find stuff not to like about this book. Now, personal gripe that I have, this is me personally, I skip over the part every single time where Cedric dies. It's a thing I have, man, where I can't consume media or watch something if a character I really like dies. Like, it bothers me immensely. And I promise y'all, if you haven't read this book, once you read Goblet of Fire, and then you go and try to watch the movie Goblet of Fire, you will never be able to do it the same way. I promise you. See me, I already never liked the Goblet of Fire movie that much. Partly because Cedric dies at the end. I just hate that. Not because I think it's a bad choice. It's just because I liked Cedric. He was innocent. He was so nice. He didn't do nothing to hurt nobody. He just wanted to help people. And then he just got killed just for no reason. And they did that to show that Voldemort is not playing. Like, he is serious. Anybody in his way, anybody slightly in this way, he will, you know what I'm saying? The twist though with Barty Crouch Jr. and Mad-Eye Moody and Barty Crouch Sr. and Winky and Little Bagman, it was all amazing, especially because if you read the book, you would have thought Little Bagman was a big part of Harry's name being in the goblet. They did a good job of mixing the blame between multiple people. You thought Little Bagman was a culprit. You thought Barty Crouch might have been somebody that had something to do with it. Karkaroff, like, there was multiple people and multiple reasons why you'd think it was this person or that person, you know, and that was just so good. Now, my favorite part of this book, surprisingly, y'all might not have been thinking of this, like you guys might not even guess this, but my favorite part of this book is at the end when Dumbledore reveals Sirius and reveals how serious this whole situation is. No pun intended. And everyone gasps in the hospital wing like, oh my gosh, Sirius Black, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's also tragic because Sirius was on the run for over a year, man. Like, again, like he was already on the run for a year and then he had to go on the run for for another year. Like, it's serious. It's his situation is tough, man. Goblet of Fire, though, I will actually put in S tier. Hey, that's just me. That book is amazing. Next up, we got Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, another movie I don't care for too much, but lately it's been growing on me more. Another reason I don't care for it too much is partly because in the book and the movie, I don't like the ending. I'm not gonna lie. The battle in the Ministry of Magic, I don't like it. And I actually like it better in the movie. Like, I don't like how they get there with the Thestrals. Like, it just seems so, I know it's a book, but unrealistic. Just even in the Harry Potter world, man, like, it's just silly to me. Now, this is another beginning of a book that I love. Remember how I told y'all in these later books, I really start to love the beginning, like before they go to Hogwarts, like even more than when they're actually at Hogwarts. Another one of those books is right here, man. We spend a good amount of time with Harry in Grimmauld Place before he goes back to school, and I love every second of it. I love the world building. I just love seeing what wizards do outside of school. We don't see that very much. So seeing that was super refreshing, man. I can't lie to you. And seeing the relationship between Harry and Sirius grow stronger and stronger, man, that was beautiful too. So sad it had to be ended so early, bro. I love Sirius, man. Top 5 character for me. But seeing all the Order members there, and then seeing the kids interact with the Order members, and members coming in and out and stuff like that, coming for dinner, Harry going to the Ministry for his hearing, all that was amazing. And my favorite scene from the whole book has to be when it was Madame Bones, I believe. She recognized Harry's abilities and was surprised that he could perform a full corporal Patronus. I think that's what it's called, corporal. Yeah, y'all know what I'm trying to say. He could perform a full-fledged Patronus at the age of 13. Y'all don't understand. Full-fledged wizards, adult wizards can't do that. So it's insane that a 13-year-old can do that. And y'all, even Hermione wasn't good at doing that. She was bad at Patronuses. Just shows how much of an amazing wizard Harry was. Every time someone tries to disrespect Harry's abilities, tell them that right there, okay? And tell them Bellatrix got your back. Now, we can't go over Order of the Phoenix without going over one of the best villains in the entire Harry Potter series, Umbridge. Everybody hated Umbridge. And if everybody hates her, you know she did a good job. The movie and in the book, man, it was, no one likes Umbridge, bro. It's just horrible. One thing I do not like about this book at all that doesn't really make sense to me is that none of the Slytherins cared at all to join the DA. That makes no sense to me. Everyone was affected by Umbridge's stupid rules in Defense Against the Dark Arts and all her decrees that she had that were incredibly dumb, where like sports teams had to like register to even play. And it was pretty much based off if she liked you or not. But I found it dumb that no Slytherins really wanted to join the DA. There would be multiple people that would want to join. And even if they had problems with Gryffindor, put their problems aside so they could learn some more magic. Because why not? They weren't doing nothing else. It's like they bunched up all the Slytherins into Draco, Crabbe, Goyle, and Pansy Parkinson. The rest of them were I could see them being helping Harry and stuff like that. And it would have been a good dynamic to see Crabbe, Goyle, and Draco all be in the DA. Like, that'd be interesting to see. Hey, I don't know. If not them, just some of the other Slytherins, man, because they would all benefit from it. There's no reason not to. You know, I already talked about me not liking the battle at the Ministry. I don't like that. What I did like at the Ministry, though, is Dumbledore versus Voldemort. That was amazing. And you know what? I don't know. Now that I'm talking about Dumbledore, I can't remember one of my other favorite. Like, no. Actually, this might be my favorite. When Dumbledore fought off all the Aurors in there with zero effort, he told them what was going to happen if they tried him. You know what I'm saying? He told them he wasn't going in nowhere, and they didn't listen. But when Marietta was trying to snitch, and she had sneak on her face, and she wouldn't say nothing because she was scared something else was going to happen to her. Because, hold on, I'm getting sidetracked, but everyone that entered and listened to Harry and Hermione talk about having DA meetings, she had them all sign something. But what she didn't say was it was bewitched or whatever, and anyone who signed, if they told a teacher or something like that about the DA, pretty much if they snitched, they were going to have sneak written on their face, and I think pimples. And those marks stayed on Marietta, at least through school. You could still see them faintly the next year, bro. So it's tough for her. I mean, she did it to herself, though. But back to what I was saying, though. They were in Dumbledore's office. Her, Kingsley, Percy was there, some other Aurors. And they were trying to get Marietta, or Umbridge was trying to get Marietta to tell Dumbledore what happened or tell everyone in the room what happened. But she wouldn't say nothing. And then Umbridge started shaking her violently, telling her to say something. And then Dumbledore stepped up real quick and said, I will not allow you to manhandle my students as long as I'm here. And she backed up immediately. She knew better. She already knew to get down. Hey, let me stop before I get too hyped. But just off the passion of that, she already know how much I love this book. And based off that, we're going to put Harry Potter in the Order of the Phoenix. And hey, I know, I just glazed it crazy, I know. But like I told you, I don't like the ending. And I don't like none of the Slytherins joined the DA. It don't make sense to me, I'm sorry. As much as it has its golden moments, man, I just can't overlook that stuff. So it's gonna have to go in the A. Now next up, we got Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Now this, I ain't gonna say too much, I gotta say that for a ranking video, you know what I'm saying? But this, I love this book also. I told y'all, 3 to 7, mwah, for me personally. Half-Blood Prince was also an amazing book, just like, well, all the books are amazing, but some of them are just not in the same tier, you know what I'm saying? So Half-Blood Prince has a lot of amazing moments. I don't know if I can just pick one good moment. I'll give y'all some of them right now. One of them is the whole scene with Dumbledore meeting Tom when Tom Riddle wants to come and ask for a job at Hogwarts so he could get to something there. I don't think he ever officially found out what he wanted to get to at Hogwarts, but he wanted a job at Hogwarts, not to work there obviously, but he wanted to work there to get something else he wanted. Like, he didn't really want to work there. If he could just search the castle for what he wanted to, he would do that. Another one of my favorites is Harry and Dumbledore in the cave, and Dumbledore saves Harry from all the Inferi. Amazing. I love the beginning of this book also. Not as much as Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix, but I do love the beginning. One thing I think this book has over Order of the Phoenix at least is consistency. This book is consistent throughout. There's not any really major things I don't like about it. One thing I really appreciate is the ending, like towards the end of the book, when we're at the astronomy tower and after Dumbledore gets killed and he falls down, Harry then goes down the tower and he sees that there's fighting everywhere between Death Eaters and the Order of the Phoenix and teachers, and there's students fighting too. I love that part. What I don't love is my boy Bill getting attacked by Fenrir. All my homies say Fenrir Greyback, man. But a cool moment about that book though is that Harry gave his friends Felix Felicis and they all took a small sip of it. So they said that it's like all the spells just like didn't hit them, like they just missed them by an inch or whatever like that. So it's good to see it being used that way. I also like that Harry was able to apparate himself and Dumbledore back to Hogsmeade to save them. That shows again how good of a wizard he is, because he was never like fully trying like that when he was taking the lessons to learn how to apparate, because he knew he wasn't going to be able to do it and take the actual test like the rest of his classmates were. So it's good that we get to see him in the book being good at other sides of magic other than defense against the dark arts. Now what I don't like is that he's so good at defense against the dark arts, right? He's so good at dueling and all that stuff, but why not give him the ability to do spells like non-verbal spells like Hermione can? That never made sense to me. Because Harry is better than Hermione at dueling and battling, and actually he's better at quick decision making in battle. You know, Hermione's good at planning ahead, but he's good at like on the fly decision making. And you might bring up the part in Deathly Hallows when she packs all their stuff and makes an escape to a certain spot that they had planned if they had to make a quick getaway. But remember, that wasn't all on the fly. She planned that stuff ahead. I'm talking about on the fly planning Harry on go. Like when they escaped from Malfoy Manor, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I also love that Harry had the intuitiveness and he had the confidence in himself to believe in himself the entire year that Malfoy was not good. Something was wrong with him. Voldemort turned him into a Death Eater and he's working for Voldemort. He's up to something. His friends just wouldn't believe him. Why would Harry be lying? I mean, come on, man. He was right about Snape, kind of. From everyone else's perspective up to that point, he was right about Snape. Now, Snape's true motives were actually good, but like to everyone else's knowledge, they don't know that. So he was actually right about Snape, but no one believed him. He was right about Draco. No one wanted to believe him. It's like, come on, man. Why not? He's not really been wrong about stuff like this. And they think Voldemort would instantly kill an innocent kid. And they think he would go find a literal baby and try to kill him. But it's far-fetched for him to recruit Draco as a Death Eater. When he goes to Hogwarts, he has inside information. I mean, come on, man. It just don't make sense. Now, me personally, I'm gonna have to put Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince at S tier. Now, there's one thing I forgot to talk about, and that's at the ending. The very end. Well, not the very end. I'm not gonna say the very end, but like after Harry goes through the battle, because he's trying to chase Snape the whole time he's doing this, right? So he finally catches up to Snape. He calls him a coward. He calls him all these names. He throws spells at Snape, and Snape deflects every single one of them. That's one thing I hate about the movie. I really hate how they did the scene in the movie. In the movie, Harry threw one spell at Snape. Snape deflected it, and then Harry said, "Fight back, you coward, fight back." Snape went up to him, and then, saying, "You dare use my spell?" Like, no! No! How do you cut out the best part? That stupid romance stuff, bruh. Get that, man. Nah, here's what actually happened in the book if y'all don't know. And if y'all do know, just sit back and listen, because it's always amazing to go over it again. In the book, Harry went up to Snape and threw multiple spells at Snape. Snape deflected every single one of them like there was nothing. And it's like he was, if you like, in hindsight, after you read all the books and then you go back, you realize these certain points where Snape was actually helping Harry. Like when Snape was telling Bellatrix wasn't there in the book, actually. She was not there in the book. I think the Carroll twins were there. I forgot who else was there with Snape there. I know it was Snape, Draco. I don't know who else was with him in the book. I can't remember. But in the book, he was saving Harry by telling the Death Eaters, like, no, he belongs to the Dark Lord. He is not for you. He's for Voldemort to finish and stuff like that. He was inadvertently, he was saving Harry, and he was doing it on purpose. And then when he was like giving Harry another lesson on occlumency, because what Harry didn't realize, because Harry was saying it's like Snape is reading his mind. That's pretty much because Snape was reading his mind, because Harry hadn't learned to close off his mind. That's what Snape was telling him. He kept deflecting the spells, and at first Harry was able to get off the full day with the spell. Then, before Harry even finished saying one of the spells, Snape deflected it. And I can't remember, I think Harry tried to do a non-verbal spell, but since Harry wasn't doing occlumency and closing off his mind, Snape was still able to see what he was going to do and deflected it again like it was nothing. That scene was amazing. It really showed the difference in power right there between Harry and Snape, or if you want to go wider, between a student and teacher, and showing really how strong these characters are. It's just, hey, look, I could talk about some of these books all day, man. We gotta keep going. We got the last one now, man. Now, finally, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, the book that ended it all. Now, this book was on go from the beginning into the end. I don't care what you say. You can say whatever you want about the middle part with them being in the forest. This book was on go from start to finish. From the Battle of the Seven Potters at the beginning, and the Battle of the Seven Potters was so good and so tragic though at the same time. We lost Hedwig, but more importantly, we lost Mad Eye Moody. He could have been a big help throughout the rest of the war, man, but he died doing what he loved most. He died. No, he willingly died, man. But he probably wouldn't have died if it wasn't for Mundungus apparating out of there and Voldemort killed him immediately. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Still can't forget Mundungus for that one, man. I love how serious they were when they got back to the burrow and they were holding each other at, I was going to say gunpoint, at one point, trying to get information, like trying to get them to tell them who they are so they know they're not Death Eaters, you know? And also it irritated me again when they wouldn't listen to Harry when he was telling everyone that his wand moved up by itself to fight Voldemort, and he didn't do it. Out of all the crazy things, out of all the things magic can do, priority incantation. Why is the wands moving? Why are twin wands moving to do each other at the same time crazy? Why is that crazy? Why? It's not crazy at all. It just be grinding my gears, bro. Harry do not be wrong about this stuff. He got great intuition. And why he lie, bro? Why he lie? Why he lie? Why he lie? Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. Now, there was some other heartfelt moments and intense moments that were left out of the movies for you movie onlys. Y'all gotta read these books, man. Come on, lock in. But when Lupin went to Grimmauld Place, where Harry, Ron, and Hermione were at, man, and he offered to join them, Harry got heated because he felt as if Lupin was abandoning his wife and child to go on a fun adventure with them. That's pretty much what Harry said, man. And they got so heated to where Harry called him a coward, and Lupin cursed him and left, or jinxed, whatever you want to say. He hit Harry with a spell and then left, man. Oh my gosh. It was fixed later though, because later when Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and Luna, and Ollivander, and Griphook, when they all went to Belle and Fleur's house in Dobby, man, in Dobby, he's there though. When they all went to Belle and Fleur's, Lupin came there and said, Harry, you'll be godfather, won't you? You know what I'm saying? Harry agreed, of course. Of course I'll be godfather. Everything was all good from there though. Until Remus and Tonks died, and then, yeah. You know what? I can deal with that. You know what I can't deal with though? Fred, I can't. You stop before I start crying. Battle of Hogwarts in that book was amazing as well, man. And the thing they don't show in the movie at all was it was completely different how it happened where Harry showed up at Hogwarts, man. About the only same thing is Harry showing up at the Hog's Head for Aberforth, or where Aberforth helped them, and he went through the Ariana's portrait, and that took them to the room of requirement. That's like the only thing that's the same. After that is different, because after that, Harry sneaks off with Luna to Ravenclaw, where the Carroll twins are, and McGonagall comes in because there's a commotion there. And then I think, dang, I forgot what exactly, the dude, Carroll, I think he spit on McGonagall, and then Harry came off the cloak and said, you shouldn't have done that, and crucioed that boy. Oh yeah, I do know what happened now. Yeah, the girl, Carroll, she got knocked out. And then he came in mad, you know what I'm saying? That's what happened. Yeah. That was good to know. McGonagall was surprised. She was like, Potter, you know what I'm saying? I can't do her voice, but Jim Dale, he could do a good McGonagall. From there though, the teachers fight Snape in the hallway though. Not in the Great Hall where all the students are. The teachers fight him in the hallway and he jumps out the window. And then they do a big meeting in the Great Hall. That's how it happens, you know what I'm saying? And sorry if y'all bookers already know this, but I had to tell my movie-ers. You know what I'm saying? Then we got Harry going to sacrifice himself in the Forbidden Forest, man. That part was goated also. And Narcissa going up and checking if Harry's dead. She lied to the Dark Lord and it worked. She is goated for that. People hold her up a little bit too high, like on the Aura list. And it was cool, but like, nah, she not top 10 still. She not top 10. Neville's speech was also really good, man. And it was funny in the movie when Voldemort was trying not to like get mad at Neville because Neville was interrupting, Neville was talking, and you know what I'm saying? It was funny because he's trying to get more people to come to his side, you know what I'm saying? Neville saved Ron and Hermione though by cutting up that snake, making it into some nice sushi. If you can make sushi out of snakes, I don't know. But controversial take here. I like the ending of Deathly Hallows Part 2 with Voldemort. You know, Harry saying, let's finish this the way we started, Tom. Hugs him together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do like that better than in the book. Them doing a little standoff. In the book, I picture it like this: them doing a little standoff, walking around while everyone's around them watching, while Harry explains his demise and how everything went wrong for him with the Elder Wand and why he isn't really the owner. But I don't know, just something about them so cinematic, so just nice. It is better to me in the movie. I'm sorry. I know that's controversial. I know people like it in the book better, but for me, it's the other way around. Also, it is good that Harry destroyed the Elder Wand in the movie instead of in the book, him bearing it with Dumbledore. Like, yeah. Because, yeah, it's better that way to just end it right there. With all that being said, though, we are going to put Harry Potter in the Deathly Hallows in S tier. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my official Harry Potter book tier list. Let me know in the comments what y'all think of my tier list, and let me know what your tier list would be. I'd love to see y'all different lists, and I'd love to see where y'all heads is at versus where mine's at. And let me know what you thought of my opinions about each of the books, and if you agree with them, or if I was just chatting. I'm out.